Welcome back to Curl Up with Jamie. Now, this is a question that I get asked a lot. It's how do you call line as a skip? And it's taken me a while to put this video out because honestly, I really had to think about it. A few key points in calling line are mapping out the ice, anticipating the curl, and watching every rock closely to see how it's moving. So let's start with mapping out the ice. How do you do this? You have to watch every rock that is thrown, including your opposition's rocks. If a come around draw is thrown and it wrecks on the guard, maybe that's a curly spot. If a hit is flashed out in the 12-foot, maybe that's a straight path. Learn from those mistakes and remember those paths for when you need to throw there again. So basically, you're creating a map of the ice surface in your mind. No two sheets are the same, and sometimes the sheet can change even as the game goes on. Next is anticipating the curl. With the first few rocks of the game, you should get a pretty good idea of how much the ice is curling. As you're watching the rocks approach the rings, keep an eye out to see where exactly that break point is. Now, the break point means where the most amount of curl starts to happen, and typically this is right before the near hog line. Knowing where the break point is, you can anticipate that curl. Say you're throwing a draw, and for the first half of the sheet, it looks really wide. Well, as the skip, you need to anticipate and trust that once it gets to that break point, it's going to start to curl. The next key point is watching the rock closely, and this starts with the release. You should be able to see from the other end if the thrower turned the rock in or threw it really soft. That means that it's probably going to curl a lot. Or if they set it back or added a ton of rotations and it's a helicopter going down the sheet. That means that it's going to run really straight, maybe even fall a little bit. This is going to impact your line calls, whether you get your brushers on it right away or if you have to delay that a little bit. Now, as the rock is traveling down the sheet of ice, you should be able to visualize the path that that rock is taking. Now, I find it helpful to focus on a specific point on the rock and not just the rock as a whole. Basically, this just makes my focus point a little bit more precise. I find that the most common error in line calling is calling the brushers on too late, not anticipating enough. So here's a tip. If the line looks good, then use your brushers. At least have them cleaning the rock's path. One last thing. Don't be afraid to actually yell at your sweepers. Be confident in your calls and praise them for their hard work after. I guarantee you that your sweepers can hear the intensity in your voice, and that's going to make them sweep even harder. Thanks for watching. Get out there and practice. I will see you guys next time on Curl Up with Jamie. My foot's asleep. Oh, ow, oh boy. Oh. So here's a rule of thumb. If the line looks good, then use your brushers. At least have them cleaning the rock's path. The rock's path, not the rock.